What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be playing around with a title that finally is hitting 1.0 after all this time. That's a game called Anvil Saga. This is a game that's kind of like a lightweight colony survival game, but sort of on top of that as well, it's also like a blacksmith life simulator. And so anyways, this is a game in which you run a blacksmith shop. That's it. And over time, you're going to kind of like, did that guy just steal my table? Can I stop him or anything? Pretty sure that guy just stole my table. How'd I make him give my table back? I can't, like, attack him or anything. Weird. Can I hire, like, a guard or something? I've never seen a guy walk in and just, like, steal my table before. Weird. Alright, fair enough then. Apparently people can just walk into my home and steal my table because my doors have no locks. But welcome to Anvil Saga. This is a game where you play as a blacksmith in medieval times during the 100 Years' War. And you're in one of the contested territories in between France and England. And you've got to decide who you want to supply with swords and weaponry and shields and armor and things of that nature. Along the way, people are going to get cranky about the decisions that you make, and so you're going to unlock new clients and new amounts of money and things that you can do. But for now, I've played the game for about 2 hours, and I think it's time to render my first impressions. If after watching this, you wanted to get the game for yourself, I have a link for you down below in the description. On top of that, you can also take a look down there if you wanted to get a link to my Discord or my Twitch stream and hang out on any given day of the week. I'm live probably 5 days a week. I would love to have you. Usually make like 6 hours of content. Usually hang out streaming for 5 or 6 hours, just fielding questions and stuff from people if they want to come hang out. So let's get this thing going. The first thing you're going to notice is the very charming art style. The game does indeed have an incredibly charming art style. That one's 2 crates inside the warehouse. Does that not count as a crate? Okay, I'll move it around later. Don't you worry about it, but I'm going to fix that room. The first thing you're going to notice is the very charming art style. This pervades the entire title. Everything from the portraits to the backgrounds to the locations that you're going to be blacksmithing in. They all have the exact same theme and the exact same atmosphere. That's very, very good. None of the artistic parts of this game feel disparate. And in fact, I think that the game has a very charming art style, all things considered. Greetings, Smith. The village is growing quite well despite the war. Good job. We've been asked to build new houses. Could you help us out with some hammers? We lost a few on our way here. Yeah, I mean, I can knock out 5 hammers. How could I not help those who have to come to better my village? Yeah, 5 hammers should be easy enough, and as you can see, this game is actually pretty lightweight. So this game is not going to be like a full-on simulator where you're doing each step of the blacksmithing process with like the forming of the metal and whatnot. The game is very, very simple. Thanks, Smith. We can finally get to work. About time. We're not usually allowed to get distracted from work, but we're going to make an exception for you. If you need something built, hey, just call us. Nice. So we basically got smelting. I've got one of my employees down here, Stone. He goes and he mines down in the mine. He brings up the ore. I smelt the ore into ingots, and then I can open up the shop, or I can take special orders. And if they're lined up at the top, he just automatically makes them when you put them on the anvil. Sometimes they need extra steps, like sharpening or something like that. But for the most part, pretty simple stuff, almost kind of like idly. Something grand is being built in the region. Labor workers are needed. So we've got a actual event right here. This is the second or third event I've had on this playthrough. And the events are very, very detailed. You'll see what I mean in just a second. But building is forbidden during this event. The price for wood is higher, ingots are higher, order prices are lower, clients come less often, but peasants and merchants come more often. Okay, that kind of sucks because I do need to kind of like build things up. But what you will notice is, if you look in the background, every single time there's a world event in this game, and this is a tremendous eye for detail, every time there's a world event inside the game, look, you'll see little scaffoldings being put up way in the background, and you'll see houses being built. And in fact, those houses will get built and they'll stay in the background. Every time you play this game, the events that you get, some of them are locked in place and they're basically temporal, or like they're based on time. So like some things always happen at certain times in this game. Certain factions go to war. Certain leaders will approach you and ask for like a new suit of armor. Whether you make it for them or not will have consequences on the overarching war. However, all the other events in the game are randomized, and you never know what you're going to get. So this building event right here is actually pretty cool. I had one before that too, where there was a giant battle in the region. And so the background looked kind of scuffed for a while. And all of these houses in the background right here were replaced with military tents that were super tall on each side. So the British were over on this side and the French were over on this side because they were fighting over the area. And every now and again, you'd see little packs of horsemen in the background, like galloping behind my house with little spears. And then you'd see little guys like retreating and crying, and other dudes with little rage symbols above their heads, like charging around in the backgrounds. Like, the game's got lots and lots of little charming details. I think that's what this game does exceptionally well, is that it has those charming details. And so anyways, back to the operation here. Stone is mining ore. You can see it over here. All of your characters have different skills, so there are RPG elements to this game. So Arthur is the main character of the game. He's got very good smelting skill and very good blacksmithing skill, because that's mostly what he does up here, whereas Stone is really exceptional at mining because I've had him mostly supplying me. We are not limited to these 2 employees. You can have more employees than that. I also kind of wanted to, like, rearrange all this. Can I, like, take that and sell it? And then my hope was that it would put the food on that cabinet right there, but I don't think that it did. So I think we're going to have to order some more food. I'll go ahead and buy 10 foods. And you'll see a little icon down here. Apparently in medieval times we have DoorDash. If you need to get some cat food late at night or like some kitty litter, I don't know. You can kind of guess what most of my expenditures on DoorDash are for. This place has it. So this lady right here wants us to make her a fish hook. Good. We'll slow the game down for a second. I forgot that I was playing on high speed because I've played the game before, so I was kind of like setting up for this video. This guy wants us to make him a belt buckle, and he says he'll pay us later. This guy wants to have his lance sharpened, so we'll go ahead and do that for him. This guy, we need to have tempering and advanced sharpening in order to make that guy happy, so we're going to send him away. Let's go ahead and close down the actual store itself. There are a lot of different models for the characters in this game. There's like tons of them. There's loads of different peasants. There's like loads of different knights. There's loads of different leaders and builders and bandits and witches and wizards. Like, they have made so many little sprites for this game so that, like, a lot of the actual little dudes that show up are really distinct from one another. Greetings, Smith. I need your help again. I've opened my barber shop, but I have no customers. Be a friend and help me out here. Make me a bright sign, one that can be seen from the highway. So this guy right here came in earlier. He had been kicked out of his village because he had vampire teeth, like Nosferatu teeth. I made him barber's tools because he said he either needed barber's tools to do it himself or he needed adventuring weapons to go visit a barber. I figured teach a man to fish, so I gave him the barber tools. He fixed his own teeth, and now he's the neighborhood dentist. And so the stories do continue, too. When people come up for special orders, they don't just come up one time. There are branching paths in their storyline that, based on how you service them or don't service them or half-ass them, things will go different ways, and you'll either end up with friendships or rivalries or people that are constantly doing you favors, stuff like that. And so we can make a barber sign or a dentist sign. He asked for the barber sign, though, so let's go. I mean, a barber was a dentist back then, so, like, meh, no problem. Once they see my sign, people will sail here from England. So anyways, in this time period, the vast majority of, like, your local healers tended to be barbers, people that could lance a boil and whatnot. So we need to buy a paintbrush, so let's go ahead and do that. We got to buy that from the store. What's really bad is sometimes you get, like, an event that makes it so that the DoorDash guy can only show up once a day. Oh, man, it's brutal. Antonio is going to help me pick the right item. Oh, that's right. I need the brush. Okay, he's dropping off the brush right now. There we go. Now I can finish the work order. So off we go with the work order. Excellent. Thank you for everything. Now things should be just fine. And he paid us a little bit. Well, actually, wow, he gave us almost $200. What a champion. Money usually doesn't come that quickly in this game. So what are you looking at in the top right corner of the screen? You've got your money. You've got your fame, your popularity. The higher that is, the more you get paid for jobs and the more people seek you out, the more popular your store will be. It's based on how nice your shop is, so you got to upgrade the roof and you got to upgrade, the cladding to your house, and you got to, like, upgrade the doors and get nicer furniture, and then it increases the threshold here, and then as you do jobs, you'll get more and more popularity. We've got ore. We've got ourselves ingots, we've got wood, and we've got logs. Our character's tired right now, so I'm going to go ahead and send him off to bed. Unfortunately, our characters are dangerously close right now in terms of like their rollover time, which worries me a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. What do we need for the next upgrade over here? 350 coins and 150 fame. Okay. Does buying nicer furniture make the place better? Since we can't build up our house right now, like I kind of want to add a secondary bed, but there's really no space for it anywhere, so unfortunately, I can't really knock that out at the moment. On the plus side, Stone's still got a little bit of energy, so I'm really, really hoping that after his sleep time is done, we can just throw Stone on there, and we'll back-to-back it real fast. People also need to eat, so I'm kind of like feeding Stone a little bit early right now, because I'm trying to keep things optimal. It looks like Arthur's going to come eat as well, but we only have like the one chair, so he'll probably just leave it on the table. Oh no, he went upstairs to eat it. Good. And now it's time for Stone to sleep. The game does have day-night cycles. This game also has seasons, so snow will start to fall at certain times of year. Things like that. Haven't quite gotten to another season yet, but there are other seasons. Oh, look at that. The British flag went up on that building right there. We had a sharpening job. Greetings, blacksmith. Lord Montgomery has personally sent me to express gratitude in the name of the English crown. So you won, and now we're a part of England. We won! The territorial disputes still need to be resolved, but the damn Frenchmen got what they had coming. Your swords really chopped them up good. I want to clarify here. I did not side with the British on purpose. It was an accident. So basically, Lord Montgomery and also Lord Delacour, they both came to me simultaneously, and I took both of their work orders because I'm an unashamed ironmongering piece of shit. And so, like, I figured I would just supply both sides and make a fortune. Unfortunately, they found out about it. The French were very angry about it. The British were like, all's fair. And so they didn't really care, and so I lost like all my reputation with the French, and then I gained a ton of reputation with the British completely on accident through being greedy, and the British were totally fine with me being greedy, and the French were not fine with me being greedy. So it's like one of those little situations where like I didn't kind of pick my alliances on this playthrough. It just sort of happened. But this game having contingencies for stuff like that is actually like kind of impressive. I didn't expect it to call me on it. Like I expected it to not let me take one or the other, but instead it let me take both. And then like 3 minutes later, they were like, "Oh, the lords found out what you did," and I was like, "Oops, my bad." We won. The territorial disputes still need to be resolved, but the Frenchmen got what they had coming. The fair this year is going to be in celebration of our victory, and you will be the honorary guest, blacksmith. Well, tell the Lord I am very happy to have been of service. I'm hoping the war will be over now. That would have been nice, but the French aren't abandoning their lands so easily, so don't get too comfortable. We'll see you around, blacksmith. This guy's got a sharpening job he wants me to do, so I'll go ahead and do the sharpening jobby. That guy's got a $23 shield he wants me to make. Hobenrud, huh? Greetings, Smith. I have brought goods from England to restore justice to this land, bled dry by the French. Good day. We've got revolutionaries here already that are led by Luca the Fair. You a colleague of his? Oh, yeah. Every faction in this game has a leader, and you can't be friends with everybody, so there's your replayability, is that, like, certain storylines are just going to be locked off to you. By nature of, like, doing jobs for certain factions hurts you with other factions, and there's no way around that. It's just baked into the game. And so that's where your replayability is going to come from with this title, is that, like, you get completely different storylines if you side with the British than if you side with the French. At least what I've seen so far from the first couple hours. Like, I have my doubts, like, maybe Robin Hood's dialogue is different if he shows up if you side with the French. Maybe he doesn't show up at all. I'm not super sure, but it does seem like there are many branching paths kind of in the narrative of this game, and you cannot experience all of them in one run. You're going to have to pick and choose. So already I've torpedoed my reputation with pretty much everybody but the British. I'm sort of like, I'm on good terms with the papacy. So me and the church are on good terms. Me and the British are on good terms. But the French, the bandits, and the witches don't really like me very much. Good day. Never mind, we already did that one. We already met with his militia. Now we have our own methods. Speaking of, Luca's the reason I came to you. We've got into a bit of a conflict with him regarding the local woods. They're going to make a perfect spot for our camp, but like Luca isn't super keen on letting us stay there. Could you make me some good bear traps so that we'll have an advantage during our negotiations with him? So if I do this, oh, England's gonna like me. Resolve the dispute with an archery contest. That does seem like the kind of thing that Robin Hood would go for. He was a bit of a braggart. They say Luca's a gambling man. He can't really afford to be fighting you right now. Maybe you should hold an archery contest. The woods could go to the victor. Hey, that's an interesting idea. The bear traps are more reliable, yes, but what kind of Englishman would balk at the idea of a fair contest? That's more like it. I've had about enough of people slicing and dicing one another. You're not just a smith, you're a peacemaker. Good luck to you. He held up a bag of gold. I thought he was going to pay me. So we got 2 jobs to do right there. We sharpen that guy's lance. This lady wants us to make her a padlock, so we'll go ahead and knock. Oh, we actually changed the entire event that was happening right now. English archers and local hunters are now competing about their accuracy. So there you go. Wood is higher priced. Order prices are higher. Hunters come more often, but I can build my house again, which is great. And we got to line out the door right now, don't we? You can click and drag these things around. One thing that I noticed is you can click and drag the orders around, and there's like a little number on them, but sometimes it seems to just ignore that. So I don't know if it will like internally choose what it wants to work on based on how much time is left maybe or something, but I have noticed that when I have 4 orders lined up and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes it makes like the 3 order, then the 1 order, then the 4 order. I have no idea what causes that, and it doesn't consistently happen. So just a thing that I noticed, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Castellan stole everything. Can you help? Sharpen his sword for a 38 gold debt. All right, I'll do it. That guy wants some arrows. I'm going to close up the shop real fast because I don't want to have a line like out of the door. There we go. How are my reputations doing right now? Not fantastically well. Bandits and witches are pretty pissed off with me. However, the church likes me so much that they've actually petitioned the king so that I don't really have to pay taxes anymore. So that's pretty good. And then apparently for the British, I can now refresh my worker list once per day as well, so that I can get more workers. I don't really have anybody, like I should probably hire another guy. That would probably be a smart thing to do. But they're pretty pricey, and I just don't know if I want to do that. Hey, what are you doing, man? You want to come over here? Here, I'll swap out your equipment and give you universal tools. You want to work the forge for a little bit while I smelt? Oh, an arrow just hit my house, dude. Little details, man. This game is just absolutely chock-a-block with them for all these little events. What a charming little title. I'm going to have him blacksmith for a little bit because we don't really have much else going on anyways. So it might as well be him, and we might as well make some cash for right now. On top of that, I'm going to expand my house to give myself another room. We'll leave it a room with a balcony. No, we'll go with a normal room, I guess. And then we'll just go with a normal roof, I suppose. The builders will be here in a minute. We've got more than enough money anyways. So it's like no biggie, no harm, no foul. +2 right there. Are you a bandit? Is that what it is? I need bandits to be happier with me because they keep robbing my house and it's costing me a fortune in furniture. Luckily, I'm starting to make like 20 or 30 per order, and so it's not as bad as it once was, but it can be bad. We'll go ahead and supply you. There's kind of like a randomness to the clients that come through. If they see you servicing somebody, so for example, you see how he gave us a -1 right there? It's because I sold something to a British. That's it. That's the whole thing. So sometimes customers will come up that are from the opposite faction, so witches are the opposite of the church. Bandits, I think, are like the opposite of everybody. Like the bandits get pissed off by like everything. The British and the French don't like each other. And so if they see you doing a work order for somebody else, you get +2 to your reputation for a successful work order usually. You get -1 though if you get seen working for the other side. And so just kind of keep that in mind, I guess, as you're playing through. It vexed me for a little while. I sat there just being like, why am I losing reputation when I'm not doing anything wrong? Like, I don't understand what I'm being punished for. And then after watching for a little bit, I realized that, like, I was losing customers based on who comes up. Now, you can send people away. That's perfectly fine, but you can't see far enough to the left to see who's coming. And so, like, I think it's supposed to, like, naturally gravitate you towards kind of being friends and also being enemies with people. Like, I don't think it's supposed to be sustainable in this game that you get along with everybody and, like, everybody is happy with you all the time. I just don't think that's how the game is supposed to work. We'll go ahead and we'll put Stone back on mining because he's ready to rock, and also we are out of ore. I also need to designate what this room is going to be for. We do have some new rooms that I have yet to build because I just upgraded my forge, which is kind of like the major research jump that like moves you forward in the game, is upgrading your forge, quote unquote. We can make this into another bedroom so that every single one of our workers has a place to sleep. That's a possibility. So everybody has like their own private room. That way if they have to sleep at the same time or there's any overlap, I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'll probably do that. We have a comfort level 2 bed ready to rock as well. So let's put the comfort level 2 bed in there. We'll go ahead and make a large table. And then in order for a room to function, you always want to have like nice stuff. So there we go. We'll make the room as comfy as possible. And then on top of that, because I didn't realize that I had a comfort level 2 bed unlocked with my most recent tech tree that I went up, I'm going to install another comfortable bed over there because sleeping eats up an inordinate amount of my time in this game. And so if I can speed that process up even by like 10 or 15%, it'll save me a lot of worry and it'll save me a lot of trouble. Let's open the shop back on up. Hopefully I can get the bandits. Hey, I love sharpening jobs, dude, because they don't cost me any resources. Sharpening jobs are the best. And it allows him to play catch up with some ore. We'll have her over here. All right. Let's close the shop up for a second just to make sure that our line doesn't get too long, because people get pissed off if the line is too long as well. I also had so there are some things that are wrong with this game. While I was testing this, I've been playing it on and off for like 20-30 minute sprints for like the last 3 or 4 days, just when I have extra time to prep for this video. I did have the inventory menus and the building menus lock up on me one time. And it locked up my entire game to the point that I had to Control-Alt, delete it, and restart the game, and it fixed perfectly fine. But that was a bug. My entire UI locked up on me, and I couldn't do anything. They patched this morning, and it seems to no longer be a problem, but it happened to me a couple times prior to that patch, so just fair warning. It hasn't happened today ever since the patch, but there was no notes for the patch because it's on a press branch, so I don't know if they fixed it or not. But anyways, it seems like it's been fixed. It hasn't happened in the last couple hours of playing the game. So that's fine, but there are some bugs here you're going to run into from time to time. They seem to be patched pretty quickly, so... And, like, the worst bug I had just made me restart the game, and it's not like it has, like, a 10-minute load screen or anything. It took literally 10 seconds to fix. It was, like, a minor annoyance. Another thing that I ran into is events often approach from the right side of the screen, and if your shop is open when that happens, the game automatically pans over to here, and it gets you stuck in a conversation. But what will happen is customers will keep lining up over here all the way back to the borders, and you'll just be failing those work orders, basically, and people will be leaving and getting mad, and, like, you'll be losing reputation. You can, mid-dialogue, pan back over here and click on the sign to close it down, but that's going to get everyone that plays this game at least one time, so I figured I'd warn you about it. That's not necessarily a bug, it's just kind of like a design oversight, I guess, is that the game doesn't like auto-pause for some of the dialogues that happen. And so it happened to me right before I started recording, and I figured I would bring that up. On top of that, some people might find this game grindy. That would be another observation that I have about the game. There are considerable chunks in this game, even within the first couple hours, that you're just going to have to kind of like sit and grind work orders and reputation until it's high enough, because there are thresholds in this game that require a certain level of fame in order to get further. And in order to get fame, you've got to make money to make your house bigger and buy nicer floorboards and nicer stuff and nicer doors and nicer things like that in order to get your fame threshold up, like your fame cap up. And so anyways, you are going to grind a little bit in this game. Some people like grind, some people don't. And so I figured I'd throw that out there as well as just like an observation. I don't really care because I find the game so charming, but some people might be like, meh, I've just been doing work orders for hella long. I'm unhappy. Greetings, Smith. Tell me, do you like a nice cup of hooch on a lazy weekend? Why wouldn't I? We work days and nights here, so breaks are welcome. Did you want to share? Just an order for now. I need a special contraption to brew hooch out of grain. If you can make it, I'll brew you some every single week. That's quite an order. Good hooch isn't that easy to brew. Smith, I was quite the scholar back in the day. I know my way around grain. But scholarly work doesn't put food on the family's table nowadays. So, medieval Heisenberg. There's lots of pop culture references in this game as well. So far, I've seen Harry Potter. I've seen Robin Hood. I've seen Heisenberg. Who else have I seen? I saw The Witcher, so Geralt came and needed me to make him a whole bunch of flasks. There are a number of tongue-in-cheek pop culture references in this game. They will usually lead to repeated quests if you do a good job, and those characters will kind of have their own little mini storyline that runs in the background. God help you, we could do with some hooch. I'll take your, that's right, get in there, man. Everybody loves a strong cup of something. I know I do. That's one of my favorite things. We need to order something from the store for this. It's a thermometer. So we'll go ahead and order the thermometer. Violent coughing. And then for the other stuff, it looks like we're going to need 8 ingots for that order. It looks like we're going to need... Oh, now there we go. Now they've got numbers on them. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it doesn't assign the numbers until you actually manually interact with them yourself. And it just does orders at a random order until you manually rearrange them, even if they're already in the order that you want. I don't know. But either way, it appears to have added the numbers now, and now it seems to be doing what I want it to do. And so no harm, no foul. Let's knock out these 2 big old thump kegs that he wants over here. We'll get this still all nice and knocked out. That's what my family did for a long time during Prohibition, actually. My family's from North Georgia hill folk in the Appalachians. And so anyways, my family were rum runners for the Chicago outfit, actually, all those years ago in the early 1900s. Apparently, well, not my whole family. My grandmother's uncle was directly working with the Chicago outfit, running rum that they were making moonshine and hooch from down south in Georgia all the way up to Chicago. And so apparently, my grandmother's uncle was a scary guy. Like, he would show up to Thanksgiving dinner, she said, in either like a baby blue suit or a lily white suit, and he'd have pistols under each arm when he would come to dinner. My grandma said she didn't much like him because he used a lot of foul language, and her dad was constantly kicking him out of the house. And so anyways, greetings again, Smith. Is the contraption I ordered ready? Of course, just crafting it made me pretty thirsty. Thanks, I'm going to need some time to work on the recipe with my apprentice, but you're going to get a taste of that first harvest. Can't wait, my workers will be happy too. Your workers do get traits in this game. It's not a hugely influential thing like in a game like Darkest Dungeon, but you do get traits on each character. They are completely random. I'll just tell you that right now. You never know what you're going to get. I've done 2 separate playthroughs to test this, not all the way through the game, but for the first hour or so. Sometimes your main character gets all negative traits, just randomly. Sometimes your character gets all positive traits. On this run, I have all positive traits, but you'll notice that on Stone, Stone has a negative trait over here. He's afraid of spiders. So anytime he's supposed to go work in the mine, he has a chance to hyperventilate and sit in the corner and, like, waste time, basically. A lot of witches coming through. That's good. Our character's tired, though. Oh, did I mess up the job or something? Why did the witch leave? I was working on her stuff. It's probably because I screwed it up too many times in front of her because he was sleepy. When any of your meters are really, really low, your character will start to critically fail tasks, basically. And when they critically fail tasks, it resets the progress meter of whatever you're working on back to the beginning. And so you kind of want your workers. I get the feeling that in beta testing, people were just ignoring this meter until it went all the way down to the bottom. And so they added that as where you've got like a chance to critically fail once you're at a certain threshold or lower. And you've just got to kind of deal with it. But this is Anvil Saga. I think the game's pretty cool. I think I've brought up any of the concerns that I have. The fact that the game can be a little tiny bit grindy. There are some weird little oversights that come up from time to time with the way the scripting works, or with the way that, like, certain events trigger. But other than that, I have found this to be a delightfully charming game. That's just me personally. I found this to be, if you like little games like this, it's the sort of game that you put on a side monitor that you can, like, fiddle with and, like, micromanage while you're, like, stuck in a Zoom meeting or something. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with a little title called Anvil Saga. This is the final coverage of it. I think I covered it before a while ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it's been a good little bit since I touched it because the game had kind of like a a touch-and-go development cycle due to the war in Ukraine. I think the developers are in some way near that, I guess. And so anyways, this game kind of had like a weird development cycle because of the war. But it made it to its 1.0. It's hitting the gates. And so check it on out. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile so that you don't have to. Take care, and that's it. Bye, folks.